Hey, it's K-Time and welcome back to another deck profile, this time featuring Yellow Vaccine. This will be a bt15 deck list post Terriermon starter deck. The reason that matters is there is one new card that we're running that wasn't here before the starter deck. So without further ado, let's go into the deck profile. Starting off for the eggs, we're running 4 copies of the bt14 Tokamon. Yeah, he's just a draw egg. Whenever cards added to our security, we draw one. We don't actually have the best draw power in this deck. Just like our security, a lot of our cards can add a card, but then we take out a card. So although we have kind of 2 hands in a sense, we don't actually draw a lot of cards into our actual hand. And this egg is very much needed to help with our draw power. Let me just put it all the way at the top. For a 5th egg, I run 1 copy of bt13 Kiaramon. When a card's moved from security, one of our Digimon gains jamming. Some people might prefer this for a more offensive build, but the draw power just helps consistency too much to ignore running. But this makes a good 5th egg. Going on to level 3s, we run obviously 4 copies of the bt14 Patamon. This card's the star of the show, because by itself, at the start of our main phase, we can Digivolve into a yellow Digimon with Vaccine trait from our security. And if we do so, we'll then can place a Vaccine Digimon to the bottom of our security. So not only can this Digivolve for free, it also helps us stack our security for the future. Because of the way Patamon works, how it Digivolves and then you put a card back, it will immediately see its own inheritable effect to gain a memory. So it's even better than free. We gain a memory from it. Very good card, and obviously if we play this turn 1 and we do have a level 4 in security, it's free real estate. You know, as the game goes on, we have to put cards under security to make sure we can always do it, but this is definitely MVP level 3 of the deck, and you've got to run it at 4. The next level 3 we run is 4 copies of the bt13 Kudamon. This is our on-play searcher for the deck. We reveal top 3, add a yellow Digimon with Vaccine and a yellow Tamer. So this is good because we can potentially grab 2 cards, and it's almost impossible to not grab any card. I don't even know if I have run enough non-Vaccine, non-Tamers to actually miss with all 3, so I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to get at least 1 card. It also has that when attacking, if there's 6 or fewer total cards in both player security, minus 2000. Doesn't come up a whole lot, but it's still nice. There's another inheritable that's a little bit easier to trigger than this when attacking, but you're not really playing it for the inheritable, it's just a nice bonus. You just play it to search, because I feel like every deck needs a level 3 that searches. Moving on to the next level 3, I'm running 3 copies of the bt15 Salamon. Like the Patamon, its effect is to start a main phase, and it's if we have 3 or more security cards, we can add the top card of our security to our hand, but we don't replace it, so this will make us go down in security. However, if at the start of our main phase we have 2 or fewer security, we can put a Vaccine at the top or bottom security. This is why I really like the card. One of the problems of the deck is when you start reaching lower security, it becomes harder to grab cards from security, and when we reach 0 security, it turns most of our deck off. Like, we literally don't do much of anything when we reach 0. But this card will guarantee that we'll have more than 0 just by putting whatever Vaccine we want to the top or bottom of our security. It also has the really nice inheritable, all turns. When a card is removed from security stack, one of our opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000. This is good because it doesn't require attacking, and it's very easy to trigger off, you know, with our level 5s, level 6s, Tamers. There's so many cards that can trigger it off, and it's all turns too, and it's not even by effect. If the opponent just swings into our security, we'll still give minus 2000 to one of the Digimon, which can potentially get rid of a rookie that could have swung for game. Yeah, having a pretty good starter main effect and a really nice inheritable is why I like running it at 3. However, I do see a number of people running it at 2. just saving it more for the end game. And that's definitely an option too. But I like it at 3. I like Salamon in general, so that's why I've got it at 3. But you can bump it down to 2. My last level 3 is 1 copy of Pillarmon. This is vaccine still, so you can do all the vaccine stuff with it as needed. And then all turns players can't play Digimon by card effects. This is a really strong effect. It's the reason why people like Crimson Blaze. And, against D-Brigade, even Terriermon, there's so many decks. I'm not going to list all the decks, but there's a lot of decks that play Digimon by effects nowadays. So it's just really strong. It does affect both players. So the downside is there are 2 cards in our deck that do play Digimon by effects, so this will turn it off. However, we'll probably just Digivolve onto it before we do that anyways. So do be worried that it can affect us, but it's so good at affecting the opponent that it's 100% worth it. At the end, I'll go through other options that you can swap this for, or you can up this to 2 if you like it. But if it's good in the meta, then you should definitely run 1 or 2 of Pillarmon. That's it for level 3s. Going on to level 4s, the main star of the show for the level 4 is the bt15 Gatomon, which I just call the cat. What that cat do? It's a really good card. It has barrier, which is nice because it lets us swing at security and, pretty confident we won't die. And also, even better, has inheritable of barrier. This means that our level 5 aces and other level 6 Digimon, which aren't like high DP, will be able to live security checks because of barrier. It also has 2 other nifty effects. The all turns effect is when a card is removed from security, gain a memory. So not only if we swing this and we trigger barrier, we'll live, but we'll also gain a memory. It works with so many other effects in our deck that, take a card out, put a card in, they'll trigger this to get a memory. And it's all turns, which also means we can gain a memory potentially during opponent's turn, which can really ruin their plans. Even if they're just at 0 memory and they swing at our security, it's like, cool, after you swing at security, do a security check, I'm going to get a memory, because it, just removed from security, not removed by effect. And then, if this card is trashed from the security, obviously trashed means, by an effect, we can play it for free. And this is really good, because we could potentially rig our security, and then trash it using our Andromon Ace. And obviously, we could get lucky if the opponent has an effect that trashes security. Maybe we'll get lucky, maybe they'll trash this, and we get a level 4 for free. But overall, really good card, and it only Digivolves for 2 as well, so definitely a 4 of in the deck. No reason not to run 4 of the cat. Next level 4 is 1 copy of the Geogreymon that's limited. It's limited because it's good, and we play a lot of tamers, so it's good. Sometimes our effect will whiff, but when we do hit a tamer in security with its effect, it's a free tamer, and it gets its on play effect. But yeah, just really good Digimon. Security, its inheritable effect can come up, but it's not the reason we run it. We mainly run it to play a tamer fast and early for free. And then we recover 1 too, which, recovering 1 is good because you can potentially put something new in our security that we needed to be in our security. Yeah, card is solid. You can only play 1. I think 1's fine anyway, so yeah, good solid 1 of. Next up for 1 of is 1 copy of the Secret Angemon from bt14. Look, it has on deletion as its main effect and inheritable that will increase our security, which is nice. Get put either himself or another vaccine to our security, which is one of the few ways to actually increase security. Because one problem with the deck is we add a lot of cards to security, but we also take a lot of cards out. This doesn't increase our security, it makes us lose security, I guess. This plays from security, recovers, we don't actually add. This one takes from security, puts back, so it doesn't increase. Salamon does increase if we're at 2 or less. So this is one other way to actually increase our security, which makes it a solid Digimon. And the main reason we also run it is it's super good, mainly against virus decks. Because it can basically Chaos degrade by deleting itself, any virus Digimon. This helps with a problem matchup of EX1 Machinedramon, which cannot have its DP reduced, Angemon can bottom deck it. And it's just good against any other virus decks to have a level 4 that can potentially beat level 6 virus Digimon. So yeah, very solid card. Next up, and the art is from the starter deck. We run 2 of the bt8 Rapidmon. So this is the old Rapidmon, just using the starter deck art. Yeah, it's got Armor Purge, which is always good, and for each tamer, we suspend, and up to 3 suspended gets minus 5,000. The DP minus obviously pairs very well with the deck. Armor Purge makes it a safe Digimon to just leave out. We'll Armor Purge if they delete us, and we have the ability to go to Ace, so it makes it, pretty threatening thing to swing at. And yeah, it's good Digimon. Suspending helps us swing over blockers or things we can't DP reduce. The only downside is, for both Rapidmons, is it does cost 4 to Digivolve into, so we really don't want to Digivolve into it from our hand. We'd much rather Digivolve into it for free, with the Patamon or the Emissary option. And then the last level 4 is 2 copies of the new Rapidmon. He's nice because he has Blocker, that's always good. And then his all turns effect, the minus 4,000 to a Digimon security is also just really good at all times. Nothing much else to say. It's a nice addition to the deck. And with something with an on delete effect and 4 armors and 4 things with barrier, it makes it really hard for the opponent to get rid of our level 4s by battle. Or at least to get rid of the whole thing. They'll get rid of level 4, become level 3. Again, expensive to go into, but if we can go into it for free, yeah, it's good. Just as good in this deck as Terriermon. And actually the DP minus actually is better in this deck than Terriermon, because we have so many 5s and 6s and inheritables that can just add to the DP minus. So 2 of each Rapidmon. You can change the ratio if you like one or the other more, 1, 3, 3, 1, whatever you like. Moving on to the level 5s, starting off with the main star of the show, 3 copies of Angemon Ace. She is an amazing ace for the deck. We trash security to give selling minus 6,000, and then whenever our security goes down and with 3 or less, we recover 1, which means most of the time we will just recover off our own effect. You won't recover off your own effect if you are at 5 or more security, but otherwise, we will. This is really good. She's really good. Ace to go into. Her all turns effect, the fact that if she just stays on the field, we can recover 1 as well, is really nice. If she's got barrier, in future turns, we can just swing at security. She would die in the security battle. Barrier, save herself, Angemon effect, recover the card that we just removed from barrier. Yeah, just really good. It's a threat the opponent has to get rid of. As long as we have security and a couple of Angemon Ace, they can't win until they wipe our board, or yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, you have to watch out for the overflow, and there's a number of cards that can get rid of her. She doesn't actually have protection aside from potentially barrier. But yeah, she's a really amazing card for the deck. I see some people can bump this up to 4 if you want 4 aces. However, I think 3 is fine. If we Digivolve into her for free from security, or Digivolving from a hand, I don't always want something with the overflow, but she is a really strong card. Really, really strong card. My next level 5 is 3 copies of the old bt2 Rise Greymon, literally back in the original set for us in English. Yeah, no, this is really good. It plays a tamer for free when Digivolving, but it won't trigger its on-play effects, unfortunately. Yeah, getting more tamers out is good. And Inheritable gives us a boost to our offensive abilities, that if we have 3 or more yellow tamers, we get security attack +1. There are certain level 6s that can capitalize on this, mainly Digimon that can unsuspend, so we can potentially swing for 2 checks, unsuspend, swing for 2 checks with one of those level 6s. However, it can be a bit unreliable. That's kind of hoping to have so much gas that it's a little bit unfeasible sometimes. But the security attack is important still, because we don't have the best offensive ability in the deck, and this will help us close out games faster when we actually start swinging. A really strong card. Some people run 8 level 5s, some people run 7 level 5s in this deck. I felt to kind of go in between that, so my last two level 5s are 2 copy of Rise Greymon X. So we are running 8 level 5s, but you know, this is level 5 that can digivolve on our other level 5 Rise Greymon. This one's really good. It does cost 1 more to digivolve into, or it costs, you know, just 1 to digivolve on top of. So it is something important to note. But the good thing about this card is that when it plays a tamer, it doesn't negate its on-play effects. So depending on what tamer we play, we just kind of pay for that extra cost immediately anyways, which is nice. And then with a digivolve on Rise Greymon, we'll give something minus 2,000 for each tamer. This can obviously add up, especially if we go into our level 6 or play an ace to pass turn. And also it gets plus 1,000 DP during our turn for each tamer. I find this to be surprisingly effective. And obviously it's nice to be able to exit evolve and play a number of tamers for free. The ratios are very tight though, and I'll go into like things you can swap later, but this is obviously one of those things that you can change if you don't like it, but I found it to be quite nice. Moving on to level 6s, the main level 6 is 3 copies of the bt15 Seraphimon. As previously mentioned, one problem with the deck is we don't actually recover much and actually increase our security. Most of our recovering is when we take out a card we recover, but this just gives us just recover 1, you know, actually increases our security. Not only that, it gives minus 7,000 and security attack plus 1 to itself when it does that, which is very nice. This with Rise Greymon can potentially hit 3 security in 1 attack, which is cool. More importantly, its effect to do minus 7,000 is all turns, and there's a number of possible cards that can recover during our opponent's turn. Obviously ace is the main thing. If we have Seraphimon out, they swing and we ace, not only will we give them minus 6,000, we can do an extra minus 7,000, so we can get rid of something 13,000 or below with both these cards. Also, all of our TK tamers have the effect that will increase our security, and because of that, all of our tamers are basically a minus 7k option as long as we have Seraphimon out. There are other level 6s, which I'll go into later, that are also really good, but Seraphimon is just consistent. He's consistently a good level 6, whilst other level 6s are situationally better and situationally worse. But I just like the consistency. You never don't like Seraphimon. You know, minus 7,000 recovery is always good. For our last level 6, it is 2 copies of Venusmon, just running 5 level 6s in the deck. We have a lot of searching, and we can digivolve from security if they're stuck in security. There are times that, you know, we could bottom deck or they end up in the trash too early, but I never actually had a problem with not hitting level 6s. A lot of our level 4s and 5s can actually be fine on the field by themselves, so I felt 5 level 6s is fine. Venusmon is the Venusmon. To give the security minus 1 blanket effect, and really screw over decks that have the when attacking and when digivolving effects. There's a lot of decks that literally can't play the turn after you use Venusmon. I mean, they can do stuff, but not anything that harms you. Even especially against decks like Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid just... oh my god, Red Hybrid struggles against this so much. But there's a number of other decks. You know, maybe they're still playing Garurumon and they want to swing a million times. Doesn't matter, they won't trigger half their effects. And the security minus 1 anyways, so, you know, they don't really have a way to boost security, so they're not going to do anything. I don't like Venusmon personally. I find her to be really annoying. But I play in the deck because, you know, the opponent's going to find her even more annoying when we play it. And, you know, she's still Vaccine, and yeah, really good card. Once we have a lock on the board and we have a number of bodies, we go into this, hopefully they can't do anything, and then we just win by swinging. It's just a really good card. And a 2 of, because 2's plenty of Venusmon. Oh, that's it for the Digimon. Moving on to the Tamers, we're starting with 4 copies of the bt14 TK. Both arts if you want to see the arts. Yeah, this is a solid card. Not only does it help us rigor security by taking card out and then putting a yellow Vaccine at the bottom, which, you know, will help for, you know, stuff for going into we get to know our bottom security. This card does see itself, so as soon as we add a card to a security, we can tap the tamer, gain a memory. Having 4 of these, and especially with the ability to play tamers for free, hopefully, we'll just gain so much memory as the game goes on. Memory won't be a problem late game. Literally the only downside of this card is that it is a -1 in our hand, because we play the tamer, we'll add and then put something back. So we're actually down 1 in hand size by playing this tamer. So if you open a lot of it, it can be risky because you're relying on grabbing cards you can use from security and, drawing for turn. But overall, it's just a really fantastic card. And the fact it's basically a 2-cost tamer, because it'll gain a memory with its own effect, makes it really good to get out early. And, obviously still good to get out for free. The next tamer we have is the Memory Setter TK. Good old TK. It was good then, and it's still amazing now. It's our Memory Setter, and when we play it, look at our security, take out a yellow, recover 1. The whole deck is yellow, so it's impossible to whiff. You're free to play some non-yellow cards, but if all the yellow deck means this is 100% guaranteed. As mentioned before, both these TKs will work with Seraphimon to recover during the opponent's turn. But even during our own turn, we want to keep triggering this effect. Like every turn, playing this tamer, or even playing this tamer, this is a nice way to keep triggering effects that occur when we add or remove from security. Not only that, seeing our security makes it safer to use options or Patamon, because we'll know most of what's in security. We obviously won't know what we recover, and because it shuffles, we won't know the order, but we will see our security, and that's really important for knowing what our next play will be. The final tamer is 1 copy of bt8 Kari. She's also a Memory Setter. She also gains a memory like this TK when a card's added to security. The main reason she is in here is because her name is Kari, which is important for an option later. I actually am considering changing some of the ratios of the options, because I actually want 2 tamers with Kari in the name for consistency, but at the time of playing it, I only played 1. Moving on to the options now, we start off with 3 copies of Emissary of Hope. So when I say Emissary, this is the card I mean. Really good card. For 1 cost, we get to digivolve any of our Digimon into a vaccine from our security that's level 6 or lower. This is really good. Obviously the main thing is we can go to level 4 for free, go to level 6 for free, go to Rise Greymon for free. Really strong stuff. If we have multiple Digimon of multiple levels out, that will further improve the consistency to actually hit something we can digivolve into. Not only that, when we digivolve from security, if we have a tamer with TK in its name, we will recover 1 afterwards, which is nice. Yeah, really good card. And its security effect's good too. If it's hidden in security, this card goes to our hand, and we can play a Patamon from our hand or trash for free, which is really nice as well. Only downside of this card, first of all, if you don't have a tamer with TK in its name, you won't recover afterwards, so your security will just overall go down 1. And secondly, if you don't have anything to devolve into, this card is a brick. I did try it at 4 copies, but I found that if your security was bad and you couldn't digivolve into, every copy just became a brick until you could fix your security. So I feel like 3 is pretty good. Also at 4, I sometimes stall this before I saw any TK tamer, which again, I don't really like using this as much if we don't recover. Because even though it makes a cheap Digivolution, we are losing security for no reason if we don't recover. So I feel like 3 is a nice sweet spot. I know the card's actually really strong, so I can see why people play it at 4. But just for those couple of consistency issues I was experiencing, I feel 3 is a better number than 4. Next option, gotta run this in every deck, the training option. Just running 3 physical training. Yeah, I mean, it grabs any stuff, we're a deck that really needs pieces. We need to hit the right pieces to start digivolving for, cheap, free, whatever. And even though our security kind of acts as a second hand, we need as much consistency as possible, because otherwise we brick and we are a very slow deck if we're not doing all the cool memory gaining, digivolving from security, all that kind of shenanigans. If we're not doing that, we are slow. So physical training is good to improve consistency, and also it speeds up the deck in the sense that we can kind of stall a bit and then power up straight from nothing into a level 6 potentially. You know, Patamon can digivolve into level 4 and gain a memory from that. We can digivolve into level 5, and that's obviously good. We can reduce the cost, and then we can pass turn with level 6. So a single training boost makes it really easy for us to actually go straight from a 3 to a 6 in one turn potentially. Obviously I like it because it also grab tamers and stuff too, so training is good for consistency. If you don't have 3, you know, you run 2 and a memory boost or whatever kind of thing floats your boat. I do like it better than memory boost because we run a lot of tamers and options, and I don't want to bottom deck those. The last 2 cards is 1 copy of Lonky. I actually have no idea how to pronounce it, but I like saying Lonky. And yeah, it's our nuke option of the deck. If we're at 3 or more security, there are better cards in it because only minus 12,000, and nowadays, well, even way back then, there's cards that can do more than minus 12,000 for 8 cost. But we mainly use it for the fact that if we are at 3 or less security, we can put one of our opponent's Digimon to the top of their security stack. This is really good because it gets rid of cards that, again, we might not want to remove by deletion. It could have really nasty on deletion effects, or something like, you know, EX1 Machinedramon that we can't DP minus, we'll bottom deck it instead. Yeah, it's a good emergency option. If we're exactly 3 security, it will trigger both effects, which makes it really strong, specifically at 3. We have a bit of trouble recovering up to 3, but if we're at more than 3, it's very easy to go down to 3 if you specifically want to use this option for both effects. I found it to be a bit average. There's many times that it kind of just sat in my hand, and if I could control the board, I didn't need this, but it's a good emergency option. I feel like it's still solid as a one-of. And last option of the deck is 1 copy of Revelation of Light. This is an amazing option. The downside is that for the second part of its effect, you need a Kari, and I found that one of this and 1 Kari wasn't consistent enough, because sometimes I saw this with no Kari in sight, so I kind of just had to hold on to it, wait to get a Kari, then use it. So I definitely feel like playing more Karis is good. There even is the option to run like even more, like 3 tamers of Kari, take out Lonky, and put in 2 copies of this. So good. Switch your security stack, play level 4 lower for free. I mean, you're paying 4 to use the option. This is good because, again, level 4 for free is nice. But also, even our level 3s are nice to play. And because we keep chucking vaccine, sometimes we keep putting our level 3s into security just to put something in if we have too many level 3s in our hand. And this is, you know, this is a threat if it leaves, if they don't get rid of it. This searches, this can be a threat later, and we can just check out a floodgate from security too, which is also nice. And then if we have a team with Kari, this goes to our security instead of our trash. And that's the main thing. Not only do we get out a Digimon, we put this in security. And its security effect is the whole reason why we play it. Is that it's a blanket minus 5,000 effect to all the Digimon. And security Digimon, but the minus 5 to security Digimon only works if we trash it during our turn, which doesn't really come up that often, except with the Andron Ace, really, maybe Barrier. We can still trigger it, which is nice, but it's really good if they hit it during their turn. Minus 5 across the board is the reason people like Ruin Mode and why it's so expensive, so why not just have that on an option? You know, against something, it can board wipe a lot of weak stuff, against something like D Brigade, you know, we can wipe out like all the level 4s and lower pretty much, and because of the blanket effect, you know, any new Commandramons they bring out, they'll just instantly die to the minus 5,000 anyways. Not only that, but its security effect, the minus 5,000, lasts to the end of our turn, which means if they hit this in security, they've got the minus 5,000 during all of their turn, and they're still all minus 5,000 during our turn, which is fantastic. It's just a really strong card, and I kind of want to lean into this a bit more after realizing just how good it is. Again, the minus 5,000 during our turn lets us remove stuff that aren't removed anyways. Yeah, don't underestimate this card. It is very scary. That's it for the deck profile. Now let's go to a couple options. As mentioned before, you can up the ace to 4 if you'd like to. I've even some people running all aces for the level 5s. I don't like that though. I think I like having some level 5s you can just digivolve into without worrying about overflow cost. And I feel like some aces, mix of both. But you can run a 4-4 split, and that's very valid. Take out 1 Rose Grade 1X, 4 Angemon, ace, that is very solid. The only other ace to consider, obviously, is the Magna Angemon ace. However, she is better because her effect is all turns, which means she can stay on the field and recover multiple times, whilst this will only recover once. There's only 2 situations where Magna Angemon ace is better. Firstly, our deck is kind of screwed if we're ever at 0 security. Angemon ace literally does nothing if we're at 0, because we can't take a card out, so we can't put a card back in. Womp womp. If we're at exactly 0, this will just recover 1, which potentially lets us stay in the game and keep using effects. Another upside of this card is that if we're at 5 security, if we trash with her, we won't recover because we're not at 3 or less. Whilst this one at 5 security, we'll just recover still, and we still do minus 6,000 if we're at 5, because we'll go to 6, then minus 6,000. However, Angemon ace is just better than this overall in the deck. This one is just specifically better, like 100% better, only if we're at 0 security or 5. He won't recover if we're at more than 5, so more than 5 doesn't really help us. But yeah, if we're at 0-5, he is technically a bit better. So I can, if you want to run 1 as an emergency option in those scenarios, go for it, want to run 1? Cool. But Angemon ace is better in 90% of situations, and this is better in 10% of situations. Options for level 3s. The main thing is you can take out a Salamon for a second copy of Pillarmon if you want more floodgates. The other floodgate option we have access to is Cutemon, that makes it so our opponent can't reduce Digivolution cost. Good against a couple of decks that can do that. Obviously the main thing is it stops them from using whatever training boost they use. And it's yellow vaccine as well, so it works perfectly in deck. You can take out Salamon, run 1 Cutemon, 2 Pillarmon, run 2 Pillarmon, etc, etc. That's just another option. For level 4s, you can run a second copy of Angemon if you want. Reduce one of the rapids. This is cheaper to evo into. Again, especially if you're versing virus decks, running 2 of this is even better. However, if you're not versing virus deck, it doesn't really do a lot except for it's on deletion, really. So I felt 1 was fine enough, but you can run it 2 if you want to. One thing I see people run is hybrid. Hybrid for game is good. We have a lot of tamers. Not only do we have hybrid for game being good, just bringing out a level 4 for 2 costs on a tamer means we can, threaten them with the ace. We can just pass turn by digivolving this on a tamer. They swing, go an ace. Makes it more of a threat than just a hybrid by itself. However, it's just hard to find room. I see some people running 9 level 4s instead of 10, with the 10th one being Zephyrmon. But Zephyrmon is not vaccine, and I really want 10 level 4s for vaccine. Because of Patamon and Emissary, level 4s are probably the most common thing we go into. And 10 mathematically means 1 should be in security. I really don't want to reduce to less than 10 vaccine. I find that just increases your chance of not hitting something. So if you are running a hybrid, it doesn't have to be Zephyrmon, you can run the Kazamon. I'd recommend probably taking something else out. Maybe a level 5 if you want to go down to 7 level 5s, maybe one of the options. There's not many things you can take out. But I can see the appeal of hybrid, definitely. It's just I didn't know what to take out to put the hybrid in. Almost at the end, there's a couple of tamer options to put in. One is the bt6 TK Kari. Again, we don't actually hard recover much, so we actually could be fewer security. Especially if we use an early TK and don't put a card back in, or Salamon to just take a card out, we can actually very early have less security than our opponent, and we can start gaining 2 memory per turn. When we attack, we can give something minus 5,000, which is really just a small extra. It's not going to come up that much. The main reason to run it is because it has TK and Kari in its name, and both options just need the tamer to be in its name, doesn't have to specifically be the tamer, so this will trigger the second effects of both the options. So that's the reason to run one of this, just a consistency option. You know, you can take out one TK to put this in to increase the Kari count by 1. If you took out the Kari, you'd have even more TK. But that's the main reason to consider one of, just because it will work with both options. For more Kari options, we do have the bt15 Kari. She's also a memory tamer, and she mainly works with trashing security. If she's trashed, we give something security -1, which is alright, could save us. Not super amazing, but the other tamers do nothing if they're trashed, so, you know, a little is better than nothing at all. And then if all turns of a card's removed from our security, we can suspend this to give something security -1 to the end of their turn. This has very niche applications that it's really good against decks like Fanglongmon and Gallantmon. If they go into Crimson mode, blitz, trash our security, swing for game, if we have the tame out, as soon as we lose security, we'll give the Crimson mode security -1, and then it won't be game. And then potentially we just get game or just remove it next turn. So for that reason, like, it's a possibility to consider. You know, against decks that trash your security, it's something they have to worry about, actually. And obviously we can trash our own security to do the effect. However, I find like the extra memory gain is probably better overall, but it's definitely has applications. And if your deck has a lot of other decks, if your locals have other decks that trash security, this is actually worth consideration, I feel. Lastly, we do have the promo Kari. I feel like she's better in more of a deck that focuses with more Gatomons, running the starter deck Gatomon for the Mastermon deck and running all Angels as your level 5s. I feel like she's better. She has the starter main phase. If we have less cards, gain memory, less security. So basically like TK and Kari, except we only gain 1 instead of 2, but she's a cheaper tamer. Her on play lets us play a Salamon for free, and we run 3 Salamons, or lets us digivolve into one of our 4 Gatomons for free. I feel like it's alright. We don't have that many Salamons or Gatomons, but if we were playing this, if we were just playing at 1 copy, it could potentially help us, you know, turbo out more things, to be more aggressive, get up a board faster. Getting a memory is nice. I'm not really sure how I feel about her, but it is something to consider. Again, I feel like she's best with the Gatomon that comes in the Mastermon starter deck, because that costs 3 to Evo anyway, so this will basically pay for itself instantly with that Gatomon. Lastly, I know it's been a long video, but lastly, there's a number of options with level 6s. The best thing about the deck is that you can really put in whatever you like as long as it's yellow and vaccine. Probably the most popular option I've seen is the bt15 Magnadramon. On play or when digivolving, not that we're going to be on playing this a lot. Trash the top or bottom security to give something -9,000. So this is bigger than the -7. This plus Angelmon Ace will get rid of, hits a sweet spot of -15, which should get rid of, you know, pretty much any level 7. So that's the main thing, is that these two together hits that magic -15 threshold. And then all turns, when a card is removed from our security stack, if we have 3 or less security, we can place any yellow card to the top or bottom of our security. And that's a powerful thing, is that it's another way to put Revelation Light into our security. Nice. We can even put Lonk into our security. Nice. We can put Tamers in security, trigger them. Nice. And obviously we can put any level that we want to potentially digivolve into later into security. Nice. Not only that, it's all turns, which means if opponent attacks and we lose security, we can do the effect again to put another card in. Nice. Yeah, this card does a lot of stuff which I think is cool, and the only reason I don't run it is because I like the fact that this increases our security, just gives a nice recover 1 and does something. This doesn't increase our security. It kind of requires us to still have a decently sized security to make its effect the best as possible. But I do like that it puts any yellow card into security. If you want, you can lean more heavily into it, run more Revelation of Light with this. Nice. Yeah, but that's a solid option too. Also, it digivolves for 3 rather than 4, so that can come up. Next level 5 is the Metamamon. When digivolving or when attacking, also by trashing the top card of our security, we can play at level 4 or lower from a hand and it gains Rush. It also gives all of our yellow Digimon, including itself, Barrier, which is important. This is a defensive threat. You know, again, if they have no security, digivolve into this, play something, gain Rush, swing for game. So it kind of fills the hybrid role in a sense. And then opponent's turn, all the Digimon with levels greater than or equal to the cards in our security gain security -2. This is really good because when we reach low security, they just won't be able to swing for game. Obviously, they can just remove this card. This card's a huge target, not only because of that blanket effect, but because its effect is when digivolving and when attacking, which means it can constantly play out stuff for Rush every turn. Very scary. So it'll have a huge target on its head. But if they don't remove it, it makes it really hard for us to lose with the security attack -2, and we can keep playing stuff for Rush every turn. Nice. Again, downside is we don't recover. This doesn't even put something back in our security. Whatever we play, we're just losing security every time we play something with Rush. So this is very much, we got to win fast or we're going to lose. But it is probably a really good offensive level 6 to put in the deck. Last level 6 that I consider a good option is the bt13 Kentorosmon. You know, when digivolving, if there's 6 or fewer total cards in both players' security, we'll gain 3. This means it kind of digivolves for 2. Or if we go into it with the option, you know, pay 1, then gain 3. So we'll gain 2 memory if we go into it with the option. Nice. Gain 3 memory, reveal a card on a hand. If it's yellow, we can put it in top of our security face down. So again, we just put a yellow card to the top of our security. And then when attacking, by trashing the top card of our security, unsuspend this and something gets -7,000. So like the Seraphimon, -7,000. This will net neutral our security because we'll add a card in, but then we'll trash a card when attacking. However, if we don't attack, we're passing turn with this, then we do technically increase our security by 1. This is one of the cards that works well with this Rise Greymon, because if it has security attack +1, yeah, it can swing for 2 checks, unsuspend, swing for 2 checks. Very nice. The fact that it needs 6 or fewer total cards in security means if you were playing it, I would just play it as a one-of. Kind of like an endgame finisher or offensive threat. I definitely wouldn't run more than 1 in this deck, because we don't actually want to trash our security that much. Yeah, but hopefully you enjoy the deck profile. It's definitely been a longer video. Yellow Vaccine really is a deck that you can run whatever you want. There's even more level 5 options, like the EX5 Chirinmon, I think it's called, that also unsuspends by trashing security. So many level 4 options if you don't like the armors. Level 3s, there's not that many choices, but you can change the ratios if you want. You can run 11 instead of 12 if you want, and just rely on grabbing cards and searching. I've seen some people run 11. Yeah, it feels like a deck with so many possibilities, and it's only limited by the deck size and the fact there's only so much you can run. Yeah, I won't keep it any further. Hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Again, feel free to take a screenshot anytime. I hope you enjoyed. This is K-Time TCG, signing out.